In this video, we're going to talk about strategy for mound visits. So when you go out there as a coach, what can you talk to your pitchers about when it comes to strategy? We'll talk about two bins for this. The more complex strategic things that you're going to do that might involve your infielders, that are going to involve pitch calling, that are going to be very situational, and the more simple strategic items that you want to refresh your pitchers on almost every time you go out to the mound. All right, so let's jump into some of the complex strategic reminders for your pitchers. All right, first situation for complex strategic reminders. Number one is when there's a key run on base. So what does that mean? That means probably tying or winning run is somewhere on base. Could be first, second, or third. The winning run could be on third, or the tying run just reached base for the first time. These are situations that are pretty dire, that are going to affect probably the outcome of the game. So when a key run has reached base, it's important to talk to your pitcher about who the hitter is, what they've done already, how we're going to approach him, what we need to make sure of, right? Can we not allow a double? Can we not allow even a sac fly? What are we trying to accomplish as a team, and how is that going to affect how we pitch this next hitter with a key run on base? Next situation that requires a complex strategic reminder is when there's a key run on base and you have bases open. This is super important. So a base open means that there is somewhere that the batter, if they walk, they have a place to go without forcing runners over. So first and second, there is not a base open. Second and third, first base is open. Runner on third only, first and second are open. This is important. And this doesn't have to be the tying or winning run. This could be the third inning in a close game, and it's second and third, and we have a good hitter up and 2 outs, and first base is unoccupied. I would have mound visits in those situations quite a bit. And the main feature here is that unoccupied base, and that's going to change what we're going to call to the hitter. Because we have a base open, and especially if we have a very dangerous hitter up or just a very good hitter up, we can pitch around them a little more. We can throw that first pitch changeup, that 1-0 changeup, that 2-1 curveball, that 3-1 changeup. We can pitch a little bit backwards, because if we walk this hitter and they go to first base, it hasn't changed the situation. Yes, now the bases are loaded, or yes, now maybe it's first and second, but we don't have to give in to this really good hitter. Maybe there's someone else behind him who's not as effective. And so we're gonna allow this unoccupied base to change in a positive way our approach to pitching to this hitter. So that's why you'd have a visit when you have unoccupied bases and key runs or just multiple runs on base. Third complex strategic reminder, when it's likely that the other team is going to lay down a bunt to push a runner into scoring position, especially with younger players, but even in high school, even in college. Don't assume that your pitchers are always reading the situation and that they're going to be aware that, oh, this is a pretty probable bunt situation, right? Runner on second, 8th inning, we're up by a run, no one out, 8-hole hitter up. Probably a bunt situation, or maybe they're going to push him over to third, just try to tie the game with a 9-hole hitter and the leadoff hitter coming up, right? So as a coach, you don't mind read your players. They might be so locked in with the battle of the hitters, and really maybe they're stressed and they just sort of forget a little bit more of the bigger game items. Whereas you as a coach, you're in the dugout, you can see, hey, this is a bunt situation, probably. Let's go have a visit just to reiterate that everyone knows what they're doing and everyone knows how important it is to whatever your bunt strategy might be. But just remember, when there's a probable bunt situation, it's a good time for a mound visit. All right, my next situation for a complex strategic reminder visit is when there's a base stealer on base who's very good, very fast, and this is a especially damaging situation to allow them to steal second or to allow them to steal third. Again, pitchers, they have a lot going on. Younger pitchers especially have less bandwidth to work with mentally, like they're still trying to slow the game down. They're still trying to remember all the things that are on their mental checklist. It's a lot. And you have to go out and remind them, hey, this guy has already stolen 2 bases, or hey, this person on first base is very fast. And if they steal second with no outs, now a sac fly and a ground ball to the right side is going to score that run. So we need to be really careful. And these are situations generally later in the game, right? An excellent base stealer gets on second with a leadoff double, or is on first with no one out. If they get to second base with no outs or third base with 1 out, again, that sac fly scores them, and now they've manufactured a run, and it's very difficult to defend against that as a team, no matter how good of a pitcher you have. So if you have that base stealer on, and a stolen base would be especially damaging, make sure you have a visit and get everyone on the same page. And my last situation for complex strategic reminders, and look, there's a lot of other situations I could include, but this is a big one, is when you probably need to remind your infield of a different formation, whether they're going to be infield in, whether you need them to be infield halfway. Maybe they're going to be halfway until you get to 2 strikes, and then they're going to go back into double play depth if you get to 2 strikes. Make sure you remind your infield exactly what's going on and get everyone into the fold. Like, hey, key run on second base. We don't want him to score. Don't want her to score. So here's what we're doing, infielders. Make sure you know where you're going with the ball. Hard hit ground ball, soft hit ground ball, on a bunt, whatever it is. Make sure you know that everyone's on the same page as far as infield defense and what they're doing at the ball. Those are incredibly important. You can win and lose games when players forget what they're supposed to be doing or they're in the wrong position defensively. Real quick, want to support my channel and get more member-only videos that are not available here on my public YouTube channel? Click below the join button and you can access my membership. My channel membership gives you access to tons of perks and lots of videos that are here on YouTube but are unpublished. All right, so simple strategic reminders. These are things that may not warrant their own visit, but when you're already out there for a mound visit, these are things that you might want to remind them given the situation or what's already happened in the game, just as little things to make sure, hey, they're thinking and you can clean up maybe something that didn't go well earlier in the game. So number one, which side your pitcher needs to field bunts on, right? This will change depending on where the runners are at. So make sure you say, hey, first base, this is your side. You got to cover first base on a bunt, or you got to cover third base on a bunt, whatever it is, right? Next one, comebackers. Where's your pitcher going if they get a comebacker? What if it's hit hard at them? What if it's hit slow at them? You might not need to separate those two out, but just make sure they know, hey, we got double play in order, bases loaded, so comebacker, you're going home, right? Or runner on first, 1 out, comebacker, shuffle, hit your shortstop in the chest for that double play. Whatever it is, make sure your pitchers know what they're doing on a comebacker. Next, where they should be covering on different types of hits, especially for young players. A quick reminder is great. Hey, single in this situation, you're backing up third. Double, you're backing up home, right? And also just remind them to read the play. Make sure you're backing up. Could be third, could be home. We got to see how the play plays out. Next, remind your pitchers that they have to cover first base on a ground ball to the right side. They forget this all the time. It's got to be automatic. They don't want to judge the play. If they see it go to the right half of the field, they got to immediately get over there. It's always a good time for a reminder for that one. Holding runners is another great reminder. Remind them to mix up their timing, hold the ball, long time, short time, pick over, pitch, vary their rhythm. Make sure they don't forget about the runners at first base, right? Talk to them, hey, this is a good base stealer. Remember, don't forget about them, vary your holds, pick over, make sure you explain all that sort of stuff. If there's a situation where the first baseman is playing behind the runner, and these happen later in the game, different situations, make sure you remind your pitcher, hey, make sure you communicate so you know which person if you're throwing to first base or not. Other reminders, on a comebacker, which person the pitcher is going to throw to on a double play ball. And make sure they remind, hey, look at the shortstop when the double plays in order. I'm throwing to you, or second baseman, I'm throwing to you if it's a righty or lefty, depending on who's hitting. Last couple, pitch calling strategy, always a good time just to talk through a couple quick items. What this hitter's done in their previous at bat. Maybe your pitcher has forgotten. Maybe they're a new reliever and they haven't faced this hitter. Anything you might know about the hitter, the pitch calling, any of that sort of stuff. Always fair game. Always great to get your young players thinking about what they're doing on the mound. All right, so hopefully this video was helpful. Pitching mound visit strategy is very important. Sometimes you're going to have much more complex strategic mound visits. Sometimes you're going to have more mechanical based. They're not throwing strikes. Their mechanics look off. They're wild. They're frustrated. Mental, emotional stuff. You're going to have lots of different reasons for visits, but when you have strategy visits, you're going to have complex things, and you're also going to have more simple things, right? So make sure you can pick and choose from these 2 bins that I gave you, which are going to be right for situations. And just think, how can I use mound visits to better serve my team and to keep my pitchers on track and to prevent mistakes, mental and physical, before they happen, all right? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment or a question below. I love the discussion in the comment section. Subscribe or join my channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you here in the next video.